Hey everyone, welcome back to Kirsty Coloring Sketch. So I'm going to be doing part 2 today of my colour along in Anastasia Elly Koldareva Amarantine. So if you did colour along with part 1, you'll have done the skin already. So if you do want to join in and watch that one back, you will find it up on the channel. It'll be under playlists, colour alongs. So we're going to do the hair today. So I thought we would go for a sort of black with a bit of blue undertone to it. So I've picked out 4 pencils. I thought we'd not go too crazy on how many pencils we're using. So still sticking with the polys, as I will be for the whole of this page. We're not going to switch up pencils or other mediums. I'm going to stick to the polys so that people who want to colour along know that we'll be using those throughout, and nothing's going to be, you know, sprung up on them where they've not got a certain supply or something like that. So the colours I'm going to be using today are Sky Blue 146. My camera does not want to focus on this again. Oh, over here. Sky Blue 146. Helio Reddish 151, Dark Indigo 157, and then black. It's getting really tiny this. I think I need to order myself a new one, but black 119. So I'm going to take it section by section, and I'm going to start here and sort of end here. So we've got this one bit as a section, this bit as a section, this bit as a section, and then the little twisty bits as a section on the end. So I'm going to start off by basing it all with the Sky Blue. So, oh, bit of confetti on my nail there. Sky Blue 146. So I am going to zoom in more. I'm going to bring you in a bit more there. So just with a light pressure, you just want to base everything, all this section of her, and that's just going to be your sort of undertones that are going to come through. May even go back in with this colour again at the end. It depends how vibrant you want the blue to come through underneath at the end, but I only really work that out once I've got all my other colours in and then decide what I think it needs. So get that all based. Don't forget there is a button up on YouTube somewhere where you can fast forward. You can slow down the video, you can pause it if you need to pause it. So I am going to bring this section up to where this little bit of jewellery is here, headdress. I have got my window open because it's a lovely day today. It's very warm, so if you can hear lots of traffic, that is because I live on a main road. Possibly might be some emergency vehicles go past at one point or another. So yeah, we've done that section there now with the Sky Blue. So once I've put my base shade down, I then start going dark to light. It's just the way I work. So I am going to start next with the black 119, and right at the base of the hairline and at the top I'm going to put this colour, pressing on harder right at the base and then flicking up into a lighter pressure, so all the depth is near the roots. And I hope my big hand isn't in the way. But we can always go in with this colour again, so don't be too particular about trying to get it as dark as you want it, maybe, because we can always come back and add more. And I have gone on a forehead a little bit there, not to worry, we can erase that later. Yeah, just flicking it in. It will look quite harsh at the moment, but when we get all the other colours mixed in with it, it is going to blend beautifully, so don't worry about that. Try and follow the direction of the hair that it's going in. You may have to just spin round a little bit. So you can see how I'm trying to follow the direction of the hair strokes that have already been put in. I'm going to pull a few onto the forehead. Does anybody else find colouring hair very therapeutic? I could sit here all day just doing the little flicking motions. I did test positive for COVID on Friday morning as well, so that's why I've got a frog in my throat. I had one day of feeling really awful, but I'm fine now apart from the little niggle in my throat. So you might hear me clearing my throat a few times. I'm going to go in dark into this corner because that is going to be shadowed. Just putting a few darker spots dotted around. And then I'm going to start from the top, so right at the top, and I'm just going to do little bits on this one, little tiny bits on the end. Spin you around a little bit. You know when you're doing hair that you have to continually spin your boot to get the right angle on the flicky motions you're doing, or else it's really tricky. So all the way across the top. You don't want to bring it too far down into the highlighted area because we've got 2 more blues to blend into all of this yet. We can always come back to the black at the end if you feel like you want to add more. We need that room so that we can play with the other colours we've got. So in this little section here, it's going to be quite a lot of black there. Not to worry if you go over this little bit here too much, don't worry about that. I'm just pulling down a few of these strokes just so I've got something to blend the blue into, to pull it down into when I get the next colour. Just lightly, I'm not using a hard pressure there. So that's what we've got so far. Now we're going to get our dark indigo 157. And we're going to go where we've just been with the black. But we're going to pull this colour a little tiny bit further into the highlight. So coming over the top of the black and slightly elongate the flicks into that highlighted section a little bit more. Now this is really subtle and you might not see a huge difference, but it will all come together. You don't want it to be harsh going in, you want it to blend nicely in there. It's really complementary, this indigo with the black. So all the way along where you've been. And then from the top. Don't forget, if you need to pause, if you need to fast forward or slow down the video, there is the option to do that. Don't forget if I'm going too fast for you, or if I'm going too slow. Sometimes I am a bit slow. You might be faster on the flicks than me. But you can see by going over with this indigo colour as well, it is darkening your over the black where we put down. I think this hair is going to look so nice up against all the red colours that we're going to use as well for the dress and the head pieces. It's important as well when you're doing hair to try and keep quite a sharp point on your pencil so that you get those real hair stroke lines. And you can keep layering and layering your colours until you've got rid of all the white space as well. And you'll start noticing that it starts getting like a silky, almost like a silky appearance to it. Silky texture. It's the best way I can describe it. So now I'm going to go in with Helioblue Reddish 151. And exactly the same as we've just been doing, perhaps not as much as this colour, but just putting little snippets of it going through into the highlight. But we don't want to lose the highlight altogether, so be really careful not to go into it fully. But we do want a bit of that bright blue coming through, a little touch. Now sometimes I do choose to do the whole hair base and then go in with the next colour over the whole of the hair, then the next colour, and then other times I choose to do it section by section. It's totally up to you how you want to work it. Whatever works for you. If you're watching this video and you want to come back to it at a later date to join in, then you will be able to find this at a later date under playlists, colour-alongs. I may also add this one into my hair series playlist, because this is obviously a hair combo that people can follow as well if they're just looking for hair combos. Right, so now I'm going to go back in with the lightest colour that we used for the base first. I'm going to go in with the Sky Blue 146, and I'm just going to put a little bit, I'm only touching it a little bit, and I'm sort of pulling it through a little bit, but barely touching the page, if that makes sense. Just a little touch. And then I'm going to get my, not ivory, where's my white pencil? We don't want ivory, I don't want the yellow tones going in there. So I'm just going to sharpen my white pencil, bear with me for a second. Just going to get my white pencil 101. I'm just going to go into those highlights a little bit. This just smooths out any harsh lines on either side as well. It really just brings everything together. Now at this point, if you wanted to go in with more layers, now is the time to do it. So if you looked at that and you felt like the black wasn't black enough, then you could take your black and go in a bit deeper and just pull it through a bit deeper, which might just put a few darker flecks. But that's what I mean by layering up. You can continue to go through those motions of colours one by one till you feel you've got the depth you want, till you feel you've filled all your white space. There's the emergency vehicle. Did tell you the B one. And that is where I'm going to leave that section, so I'll just get my dusting brush and we'll just get any of the residue off. Let me just zoom out and have a little look at this. Oh yeah, I really like that. Really like that. So it's looking good. Take a step back and have a look at yours and see if there's anywhere you want to touch it up. If there is, you can pause the video, you can touch up where you need to touch up, and then you can hit play again, and we're going to do this section now. So I'm going to zoom back in. So exactly the same as what we did on this one, we're going to go in with palest colour first. We're going to go in with Sky Blue 146. And we're going to base it all. Just a light layer again. Now, because I've already explained the process once, I will still explain what I'm doing, but probably won't go into as much detail, so there may be some silence in parts whilst I'm doing this section. I hope the silence is relaxing. Lets you concentrate on what you're doing. So that's that section filled in with the sky blue. So as we did with the first one, we're now going to go dark to light. So I'm going to use my black 119 and we are going to, I apologise for flipping you around, but I need to get the right angle on it. So now we're going to start with the black, and we're going to start from the roots and then the edges and bring it all into the centre like we did with that section. Take that one up a bit further. Remember, we can always come back in with this black at the end, so don't worry about it being too perfect right now. As you saw with the first layer, we do go in with 2 other blues that can fill in some gaps as well. The indigo is quite a good colour for filling in the depth at the top. Got some lovely movement in this hair, so try and follow those shapes when you're doing your flicks. So that one went a bit wrong. That one went a bit wrong, but yeah, try and follow the direction. Carried away with that one, didn't we? Still got a frog in my throat. If you've got a tiny pencil like mine, you might be better off with a pencil extender. Just it can really start aching your hand. If you've got a small pencil like this, So also what I like to do sometimes, I might do it near the end. Sometimes I like to bring some of the little hair strokes onto the face, maybe around the ears where the little strands just fall down, just to make it a bit more realistic. A bit imperfect. So still following the shape of the hair. I'm going to turn you around slightly where we get these little bits up here. So this is where I'm going to flick a little bit around the ear there. That's pretty much it on that side, and then I'm going to start from the top side. If you need to sharpen your pencil, don't forget to make it nice and sharp. If you want to take a break as well at any point, you can. If you go off YouTube and come back to it and you've been watching a video, the next time you click on the video, it will start from the point that you finished at. So sometimes I do that if I'm watching somebody's videos. Pop off to make a cup of tea, might make some phone calls, and then when I pop back onto YouTube, the video just starts where it left off. I think you should be fine with me though, because I am quite slow, or I consider myself to be quite slow with her. You'll have to let me know. But I do consider myself to be quite slow. Right, just getting these last little bits around here now. Hear somebody's music outside. I wonder if that picks up on the video. Okay, so I'm pretty much where I want to be with that now. I'm just putting some lighter strokes through the middle like I did with the first piece, just so we can blend the next colour in less harshly. There we go. So the next colour is our indigo, dark indigo 157. So we're going to do, The same thing again, going over all the black and bringing the dark indigo a little bit further into the highlight. Some crazy cars outside then, wheels spinning. It's a very busy main road, the road that I live on. Very busy. See how you get the extra depth when you put the indigo into the black? It's really nice. It makes your job easier because you don't have to keep going in with that black too much to make it dark. This is really giving it the depth that you want at the roots. I think that's the key with giving that shine on the hair, is to get your dark parts really dark and then your highlighted parts really highlighted, so that you're leaving all that nice white space, but with a little bit of the blues blended in. It's just really nice. So I'm dragging some of this blue lightly into the highlight, not pressing on hard, it's really subtle, and then start from this end and go over your blacks. I think how her turns out is pretty much how much patience you have. And like I say, some things I don't have patience for, but her I really do, because I find it very relaxing. I could do this for hours. You can see that we're filling up all that white space that's left. You can tell the difference from this section to this section. All this white space is still underneath the black. We're filling it all in. It's just giving it that richness without making it too blue. I think sometimes when you're using blues in black hair, it's very easy to accidentally turn it into a really bright blue hair colour, and I've done it lots of times. And there's nothing wrong with blue hair, because I've done some blue hairs and they look good, but when you're after a black and it turns blue, it's not what you wanted, is it? So that's where I want to be with that colour now. Now we're going to get our next shade, which is the Helioblue Reddish 151. And the same thing again, but not as much of this colour, just very gently pulling a little bit up into the highlight, lightly, light pressure. We don't want a full-on pigment from this colour because that could end up turning it, you know, a full blue hair colour if you did too much of this one. It is quite a bright blue, but we do want that little hint. There we go. So next, going back in with the very first colour we used, Sky Blue 146, and we're just going to skim over. And then going in with our white 101, just gonna give a little bit of life into them highlights, and so we're making it less harsh on the edges. Going back in with the black again, 119, and I'm just going to send some flicks over the top. There we go. I'm going to turn it round, pull it down. I hope I was in frame then. Wouldn't be very much of a tutorial if I wasn't in frame. Hope to God I was. Another emergency vehicle going past my house. You will have to accept my apologies. Just deepening up some of that. Sometimes when you take a step back and look back, and then you see slight differences in your sections, and you can just touch it up. You can fiddle and fiddle as much as you like. There we go. We're looking good, aren't we? We're looking good, guys. So another section, I'm going to go for this really small section down here next. So again, we're going in with our lightest colour. Oh, there's a lot going on outside today. What is going on? Is that ambulance? Oh, it's a fire engine. Wonder where the fire is. Sorry, I got sidetracked. So Sky Blue 146, and we're going to base this little section down here. So now going in with our black again, 11199, nearly said 119 then, 199, and doing the edges again. So I'm just going to turn you around where I get into this little diddy bit here in the ear. we're gonna flick in the direction that Anastasia has already put these gorgeous hair strokes in for us. And we're just doing the same as we have done on the last two sections. So hopefully you've got a bit of a memory log going on now of what we've been doing. And I really hope that people are colouring along, and I hope that if you do, if you've got Instagram, tag me in your finished picture or your whip, or if you've not got Instagram, email me. I have my email in the description of this video if you want to send me a progress picture or a completed picture when we've done all parts. I love to see them. So I'm going to spin you around while I get the top bit now. So all this little bit above the ear, I am just going to do all that black. Don't worry if you go over the ear a little bit like I have. It's not a huge worry. It's hard not to when it's so fiddly. When you've got a little diddy pencil like this, it's hard to get as much control. I hope my hand isn't in the way for too long here. It might just be for a little minute. As the curve comes towards the edge, you can put more of a flick. So going in with the dark indigo now, 157. Just gonna go over where we've just been. I have just grabbed myself a nice warm cup of coffee as well, to try and ease this throat off a bit. So again, starting off over the top of the black and then bringing a little bit of this indigo into the highlight. You need to sharpen your pencils to get that nice sharp point. Don't forget you can pause at any moment. I find that the polys work really well in these books. So now we're going into the Helioblue Reddish 151. Doing the same again, but bringing it through a little bit more on the edges, very lightly. Again, I don't want this to be a harsh in your face blue, just want a hint of it in the highlight. So now we're going to go in with the Sky Blue 146. Just a little touch of it here and there going through. And then the white 101, just in the centre, to bring it all together with this one. And then going back in with your black 199, just to bring a few dark strokes back into the centre. There we go, that's that section done. So I'm going to zoom out a little bit and we're going to move on. I'm going to turn my book around a little bit. I'm going to do this little section here. So going in again with the Sky Blue 146, just basing that part. Now going in with your black 199. So really fiddly on some of these bits. I'm going to try and get in right between these two little headdress pieces because that's where the hair's coming from. It's really fiddly. Then coming from this side, Now I'm going to go in with the dark indigo again, 157. Now as we get to the smallest sections and all these twisted parts around here, it can get quite tedious. I won't lie, as much as I find it therapeutic colouring hair, these bits are the bits that get me. So if you do want to take a break, by all means, no, don't push yourself to colour through your wrist aching or the tediousness. If you're not enjoying it, just take a break. You can always come back to it. Next, going in with the Helio reddish, 151. And remember, we just do this bit lightly, very lightly into the highlight. Don't want too much of this colour. Just a little hint. Now going in with the white 101. Just into your highlights. And then back in with the black 199. There we go. Let's have a look what we've done so far. So next up, I'm going to do quite a big section next. We're going to go for all of this one, I think. All of this one here. So might have to turn you on an angle just so I can get a good angle on my flicking motions. Gonna go in with sky blue again, 146, and we're gonna base it all in this colour again. So when you're colouring hair, what colours do you tend to go for? Are you a person that always radiates towards a certain colour? Brunettes? Blondes? Maybe outrageous colours? Like your vibrant rainbow colours, greens, blues, pinks? What do you normally go for? I have to say that I am a bit of a mixed bag, where I do try to do different colours. So one of my favourites has to be a purple one that I did recently on a Mariola Budek page. That was gorgeous, really gorgeous, like a plum sort of colour. So I'm doing all this section all at once because this is the last section before we get to all the twirly twisty parts. So if we get all this bit out of the way, this section and this little section here, in fact, base that bit there as well, that's only a little section. When we get this bit out of the way, then we know we've just got the last little bits of twistiness. I am going to try and give my black pencil a little sharp, and it is getting quite small now, but it is getting a bit blunt on the end. I'm going to lose this pencil in my sharpener. It's so tight, in fact I don't even think it's going to go in and sharpen. It might be too small to fit inside this helix, which isn't great. Yeah, might have to manually do that one now. But I don't know if my sharpener's working, my T-Gall, you see, that's the only problem. I don't think it works anymore. Oh, might just have to make do with this. I don't know, I've managed to get quite a point on there. That might be okay. So we're going to go in now with black 119, and I'm going to twist my book round so I can get the right action on this. So here we go, back in with the black, guys, back in with the black. My belly's rumbling. Must be dinner time. So there's quite a lot of curving in the way that this hair turns as well, so I'll try and follow that again, as you have done with all the other sections. Not forgetting that we can darken it up as well with the indigo. Turn him around a little bit, just so that my hand's not blocking the view. When I can see that there's sort of a section going into another section, I'm sort of bringing the line of darkness up. So the black, I'm sort of bringing it up through it almost, so we've got a separation, if that makes sense. You can see another one here, so I'm going to take this line all the way up through there. We're getting there slowly, guys, getting there slowly. Maybe you're quicker than me. I am quite slow. Sometimes it's nice just to sit back, relax and enjoy a colouring page. I think sometimes there's those sorts of pages that you want to rush and get finished, and then there's others that you really enjoy in the moment and you can just take your time. That bit. Now we've got this twisty bit here. Spin you around a little bit, get the top bits. So I'm not forgetting the little part at the top that we did as well. This little section here. And then we can go in with the indigo. So dark indigo now, 157. Going over where we've just been to make the black really black, and pulling a tiny bit through the highlight in the middle. I'm going to turn around for this bit. Going on a little spin cycle. So what are we thinking about her so far? If you're colouring along, are you liking how it's looking? Are you not happy with anything? I think what I will do after this one section's done, I think what I'm going to do then is speed up the process of me doing the rest of it, because if the video is too long it will not let me upload it to YouTube because of storage issues that I have going on, and we don't want to lose all this footage that we've already done. So I think you pretty much got the hang of what we're doing and the order of the colours and the way that we're blending. So when you move on to the twisty parts, it's exactly the same. The only thing you're doing is possibly only doing a few small little flicks because we've got a smaller space to leave a highlight. So we're still leaving the highlight towards the centre of all the twists, but it is just more, that little bit more fiddly because it is really, really small. But it's the exact same as what you've done through all these sections that we've already done. Just gonna spin you around again. Next up, we're going to go for the Helioblue Reddish 151. Just adding a little bit of that, remember? Not too much, just a little. And the lightest shade, Sky Blue 146. Just a few little flecks of this one. And then in with the white, 101. And then back in with the black, 199, just to put a few random darker hairs back into it. And there we go. So I'm going to zoom out. So I will do this little section as a time lapse, and then we'll come back. Hello, welcome back. So you've just watched me do a time lapse of this little section here. So it is complete now. I hope you didn't find it too hard to colour along if you was colouring along with me. I know it can get quite tedious, especially in the teeny tiny little twists in the hair. That's my pet hate of her. I do love doing her, but these twists are my pet hate. But yeah, so that is part 2, and we did the hair. When I come back on to do part 3, it will be the dress, the dragon, and hopefully the eyes and lips. I was going to try and do the eyes and lips along with the hair, but the hair has just took up so much time. It did take me a lot longer than I thought. So yeah, that is part 2, and part 3 will be the clothes and the eyes and lips. I hope you enjoyed following along. Please do hit that thumbs up, drop me a comment down below, and subscribe if you're new. And thank you for watching. See you again soon. Bye bye.